Please stand up. Well, I, Linda Toupin, have the honor of being your very first speaker on the very first day of your very first seminar, so we get to be connected for the rest of your life. 37 Julys ago, I was you. And the very first NSD speaker on the very first morning of the very first day of my very first seminar changed the direction of my life forever. And as God would have it, I get to be your very first speaker on your very first day of your very first seminar on my very first day of my very last seminar as an active NSD. How cool is that? God is good all the time. During those very first hours of my very first day of my very first seminar, is this starting to feel like Dr. Seuss? I moved to the front 2 inches of my seat. Move to the front 2 inches of your seat. I leaned forward, my eyes were as big as quarters, my heart started racing, and tears started coming down my cheeks. And when that woman got done speaking, I turned to my left, because seated to my left was my senior sales director, Lucinda Utley, and I said these words to her. I have no idea who that woman is. I don't know how she got there. I don't know what she does every day. But one day I'll be her. Did I mention that God is good? All the time. I believe our lives are like a big box of puzzle pieces, and when we're born, God just dumped it out on our coffee table called life, and He said, put it together. So every way we turn over pieces of this puzzle and we try to make sense of them and we try to figure it out because we have an image of what our life is supposed to look like in our mind. But we realize soon that God didn't give us the box top, and so we don't know what we're putting together. But you know, He did that on purpose because He gave us something else. He gave us free will. So that means that we can change the box top any way that we want it to be. It is our choice. And so I choose not to use the word free will. I choose the word choices. And it's a word that I'm known for. It's a word that defines me. And so for the very last time, as an active NSD, with great enthusiasm, will you repeat after me? I am where I am.
I am where I am.
By the choices I have made.
By the choices I have made.
Or I have allowed others.
Or I have allowed others
to make for me.
to make for me.
If you woke up this morning and you did not love your life, it is not your husband's fault. You married him. It is not your children's fault. They were not born to fulfill you. Ouch, that hurt just a little, but it's truth. It's not your boss's fault if you don't love your job. You choose to go there every single day. So we are where we are in our lives, but the choices that we've made are because God had other people to make for us. And if we want a different life, we have to look in the mirror, accept responsibility for that, and acknowledge that God gave us free will, and we can choose freely. And so when I turned over the puzzle piece of my very first day, of my very first seminar, Linda Toupin's box began to change dramatically, and so will yours if you choose. So how in the heck did I end up 37 Julys ago in your seat? Well, it really started when I was born actually in southeastern Kentucky on a dairy farm. We milked Holstein cattle. And for those of you who are bovine challenged, that's the black and white ones that are out there in the field. For the first 18 years of my life, I really did not know that you could get sick and not go to work because I'd never seen that. So if you were sick, you got well at 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. because cows have to be milked at exactly the same time every single day, or it greatly affects milk production. And so when people died, we just buried them in the middle of the day, came home, changed our clothes, and went back to the barn to milk the cows. And if you're going to succeed financially in an entrepreneurial business, you will need to have a milking the cow attitude. In addition, I was a big 4-H'er, and I did my very first 4-H demonstration when I was 9 years old, and I learned then that I loved to teach. After college, it was 1982, and I was divorced, and I was teaching in a small rural school in southern instructor. I was waiting tables at night, and I was sponsoring every club they would let me because I didn't want to be poor. You see, sometimes in your life when you don't know what you want to be when you grow up, or you don't know what direction your life is taking, just make a list of everything you don't want to have happen and do the opposite. It really works well that way. And so, they say to us that money doesn't buy happiness. Now, I'm not real for sure who they is, but if money doesn't buy happiness, I think it buys something far more important, and that's choices. When you have money, you have choices, and when you don't have money, you do not have choices. Well, in the spring of 1982, my principal came to me one day, and he said the middle school girls were having trouble with their makeup, and they were experimenting and not doing a very good job, and he felt like somebody needed to help them. And I assured him I could barely get the stuff on my own face. Well, I lost my argument, and so then I hustled over to my phone book and opened the Yellow Pages to try to find a speaker to come to my classroom. Now, for those of you under the age of 30, the Yellow Pages is Google. Well, Lucinda Utley was the name I picked from the phone book, and she came into my classroom and spoke with my students. And at the end of her presentation, she asked me, had I ever thought about doing something like Mary Kay? And I was like, I'm not even for sure what Mary Kay is. And she asked me if I like to read. And I said I love to read. And she handed me an Applause magazine and Mary Kay's autobiography. Now, you've been wondering what to do with all those Applause magazines. They're the best recruiting tool the company ever gave you. It appeals to all 4 personality styles, plus it has all those checks in there. And so I fell in love with the woman Mary Kay. So I attended my very first meeting, and there I saw 2 things that caught my attention. First of all, they were passing out pens, and it was like, I don't know anything about no cleansing cream, but I know how to win a 4-H pen. Then they started passing out ribbons, and I was like, well, I don't know anything about mascara and eyeshadow, but I know how to show my cows at the county fair, and I know how to take grand champion. Winning is winning. Now, I have kept my box all these years, and I will have it on full display at our finale in Louisville, Kentucky, October 25th and 26th. And I have estimated that that $75 starter kit has circulated $300 million through the U.S. economy in the past 37 years. Well, I, this time, would like to honor the Toupin National Area. Would my directors and consultants please stand for their well-deserved round of applause? Man, I love you guys. And I am going to celebrate you royally in Louisville, Kentucky at our big finale. Y'all were invited. But I'm going to put you in front of all the voices that influenced me over the past 37 years. It's going to be the 2 most amazing days. And we are going to rock the stage tomorrow with 22 cruise winners and triple star winners and double star winners and tons of court achievers. And I could not be prouder of you than I am at this very, very moment. But I will show that to you in October. Well, I want to tell you a little story. I got this thing in the mail the other day. Well, actually it was last year. It's a little tag, and it's from American Airlines. And they had proudly told me that I was now a $2 million mile achiever. And I was like, well, that's kind of cute. That's kind of a cute name tag. But I didn't quite understand what this meant. It meant that now when I make a reservation a few days before I get on the flight, I typically get an email that says, congratulations, Ms. Toupin, we have upgraded you to first class. Now, I don't know if you've flown first class for very much, but it's a good gig. I mean, you don't have to fight for a seat or a bag and they wait on you. It's really wonderful. And I got to thinking the past few years about this NSD position that I'm heading to in January of 2020. It has a lot of names, okay? They say I'm going to retire. Well, retirement is for people who work traditional jobs that don't like them and can't wait to get out of there. So who in the heck wants to retire from the best career on the planet? Besides, the best 30 years of my life is still ahead of me, so I'm rejecting that one. And then there's this new word, like people started saying relaunching. Well, I guess that might be appropriate if you have another career you want to pursue or a purpose or a passion, but that didn't fit me either. And so I'm going to officially announce that when people ask you what happened to Linda in January of 2020, I want you to say, she got a Mary Kay upgrade. Now let's think about this. Let's think about this, children. As an NSD emerita, now, you know, we think that this NSD position is the best job on the planet, but think about this. As an NSD emerita, I get to come to seminar. I get to sit on the front row. I hang out back there in the NSD lounge with food. I take the NSD shuttle, and I get all the NSD gifts and all the free product they give us. I get to be with all my besties without 80 hours of prep to get here. I don't know what y'all would call that. I would call it. I get to come to seminar without 2 carloads of stuff to do the 14 million programs I do. I would call that a. And I understand, it's just a rumor, that the hotels here in Dallas have swimming pools. After 37 years, I don't know that. But I think I'm about to find out. I would call that an upgrade. But you know what the best upgrade is? It's the 3,500 people that God has entrusted me to lead that just get to be their friend. I no longer have to ask them where their weekly accomplishment sheet is. I don't have to fuss at them if they didn't register for seminar. I just get to be me. And they just get to be them. I don't know what you would call that, but I would call that. And I've said it for the past 3 years, and I want to say it loudly to you today. After January 2020, I ain't going nowhere. You are my people. You are my people. I intend to work within the legal guidelines, and I'm not grumbling at legal department. In fact, we should all praise the legal department because they keep us safe from ourselves. But I'm going to work within the legal guidelines, and I'm going to dedicate my next few years to the Mary Kay Ash area. Teaching the concepts that I have been gifted with. We are all gifted with our own skills. How to turn one person into 25. How to build a business without ever passing out a business card. What is the difference between a traditional family and an entrepreneurial family? How to build systems into your organization as a leader so that your business runs effortlessly but not without effort. How to have front end, middle, and back end systems that keep your people with you. And Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And hopefully my actions in the next few years will reshape and redefine those of coming NSD Emeritus. There is a world of Emeritus who all they want to do is love on the Mary Kay Ash area and to impart on them what they have been so good at. They want to serve the company that has given them so much. And I pray that God will bless my actions and that I will be able to help pave the way to make that a reality. So for those of you in the room who this is your first day of your first seminar, or maybe it's your 40th seminar, I will be praying that God reveals himself to you and blesses your actions. And I want to give you a clue. As you turn over this big puzzle piece called seminar this year, I want to remind you that at the end of your life, when your life is complete and the puzzle is finished, every piece you turned over had a perfect place and it fits perfectly. So, you guys, this is not goodbye. I'm going to see you in first class after January and they give me my upgrade.